Talk to you too, my friend. So you can hear me nice and clear, yeah?
A little bit of technical difficulty there, folks. A lot of pop-ups from last season, but we are back now for CRL, back for Season 6, and of course we're kicking off here on a Thursday night, not a Monday night, nearly the first slip-up night there, 8:30, with the big boys of Tier 1. I am, of course, your host, CRL Freefall, or Scotty, as you may prefer, and I'm joined by a very, very special guest. It is, of course, the one and only Mr. Jamie Indigo. Jamie, how are you doing tonight, my friend?
Very nice to be back after pre-season testing last week, mate. I am very good, thank you. It's Thursday, round 1 for Australia. If you can hear me.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got you
Can you hear me?
nice and loud and clear. Absolutely brilliant. Australia, like
I
you
think you
say.
went into game chat, Scott. I'm not quite sure.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. We're just through Discord. It doesn't matter from game chat. We're all good. But yeah, like you're saying, round 1 here at Australia in Melbourne. 16 corners, 4.3 kilometres, 27 laps, making its debut back in Season 1. Do well, the man on the grid here. Last time out, he's won it. He's won here twice, and he's had many pole positions here. Can he make it a third in a row? Of course, we are back for Season 6. Yeah, we've got you, Jamie. Season 6, 15-round calendar with them 3 sprint races. Round 1 here today. Next week we'll be in France, then Monza. The first 3 rounds with the grids will be decided. But until then, it's all actions on ice tonight. We've got you loud and clear, Jamie. But the first cars making their outlaps for the first session, of course, Q1 here tonight. Anyone new to us qualifying, of course, 3 sessions. Q1, the bottom 5 eliminated. We've got a full grid of 20. Q2, the next 5 eliminated, and then it's that all-important top 10 shootout. But going into the season, I would say probably an incredibly competitive grid. You know, looking down that list of names, Relentless Ferg, you know, Tier 1 champion, Sieb, Pease, Jeroen, Jacob, Nathan, Wouter, again, another champion, and Do Well, a back-to-back champion. A lot of strength in this grid. Then you've got guys up and coming like KXI, Steiny, fortunately not here tonight, and DeRoy. Very competitive grid. And honestly, one that likes these quali sessions. It's going to be a case of getting the power down at the right place at the right time, and that could be you in or out, because there's going to be nothing separating these guys here.
Just on board with Walter. He was the first driver to start his flying lap, but it looks like he's on a decent lap so far. No mistakes from what I see. Poked up every apex last year also with traction, because this is a very difficult track. One little mistake, like you said, Scott, would either lead you to the validation or a kiss with the wall. But Walter's coming towards turn 11 and 12. Difficult sequence of corner, ruthless corners. And let's see how it takes it through your turn 11 and 12. Nicely on the curve there, because I know a lot of people struggle with the exit at turn 12. They hesitate, and therefore they end up in the wall. Turn 13 here, just clip the curb on the apex, they're leading out of the outside curb. This one here, just bring it in, downshift to 5th gear, avoid the apex of that curb, and go into the penultimate corner here. Don't want to lock up the rears, hit the apex, get yourself straightened up, coming towards the final corner here, get back in the throttle, DRS wide open for this straight, and let's see what the benchmark is there for Walter. This is going to be a 21.228. Decent first lap, and I believe the Alpine of Andage is right behind as well in P11. Let's see what he does. Across the line he goes. Doesn't do anything, so I think he validated that lap as well.
First time in from our champion then, 21-2. He has 2 seconds clear of Jaime at the start. Of course, Jaime 23-2 I expect there was a mistake in there. Marty in the Mercedes going to cross the line. He goes for a 21.7, provisional P2 at the moment. And Rudy, a 22.6, goes P3. So these already getting a good benchmark of what kind of times to expect. Of course, Rudy and Jaime, actually, there we go, on the mediums, opting to use them in Q1, try and sneak through on those. So a good indication that a lot of these guys are Q2 particularly going to go for the softs, not going to try and start on the mediums. But lap times, looking for maybe a high to mid 20 for pole position here.
I think so. We might even hit the mid-20s because this track will evolve and get better throughout the whole session as the rubber starts to lay in. But Robbie up there in P2 on his debut for CRL has set off 21.3, only a few hundreds behind Walter. And Mr. BT, his teammate, is in P3 with a 21.4 with Mark, only a few hundreds shy of Mr. BT there in P4, Marty, P5 to Griff in P6. Like you said, those medium runners will potentially not use those in Q2 because you only get one set of mediums of the whole session in the whole qualified session. So I think it's like 3 sets of softs and 1 set of medium. It's long qualified, so it's like 5 sets of softs and 1 set of mediums because obviously you have that tire unlocked to Q3. But along board with Deal, he took those turn 11 and 12 sequence very nicely through there. Very committed to the corner, carried the speed in, and he missed his turn 13 just a bit, missed the apex there, so I lost him a bit of time coming through turn 14 now. There is a car in the way of Robbie, but he gets nice out of the way. Now going into this slow corner here. Build the speed back up, coming towards the final corner, short shifted 5th gear, DRS wide open, using the exit curve as well. And this lap time is going to be a 22.0, so he's up into P7. I think he needs to find a time to improve on that just in case further down because we've got still quite a lot of people who haven't set a lap time. We've got DeVouge that's just moved up into P7 ahead of Duval by a few hundreds there. We've got a couple of people like CPs, Giroud, AJ, Nathan, KXI. Well, hello KXI, welcome to Tier 1. Very nice to see him here. And Het Bompje in P20, that's not set a lap time either, so still got to watch out for them. This track though, this is very, very difficult because it's very easy to see Jaime validates it on his lap. You see a lot of people invalidate or lose on the curb, but they're going to find the limits of this track, and that's what it's all about. Just finding the limits and carrying the right amount of speed, hitting the braking zones correctly, try not to lose it on traction. In fact, she'll go more turns on P's because he's about to cross the line to start a flying lap as he heads off into turn 1, breaking the flat box, then hit the apex in turn 1, run it out on turn 2, which he's done nicely there, very committed to turn 1. Now on his second DRS zone, might see some overtaking opportunities there. Breaking the black box here, downshift to 3rd gear, kiss the apex, then short shift to minimise wheel spin, downshift to back to 3rd gear for the extra rotation, and absolute flat out for this turn 6 corner. Might not be in the race due to heavy fuel and probably overheated tyres, because the softs do overheat quite significantly around here, so you're going to watch out for the overheating. Probably turn down the tyre pressures during the race, which I failed to do last time out, that's why I've got so many overheating issues. Probably qualifying sessions, qualifying time trial as well. Hit that turn 8 and turn 9 nicely there, total P's, very easy to validate through there. Coming through turn 11 and turn 12, down to 6th gear, this one here, hits the apex nicely, runs it out the exit curve, it's coming down into turn 13, a heavy braking zone, 100 meter ball, bring it down to 4th gear, kiss the apex of the entry, run it out wide through turn 13, downshift to 5th, use a lot of curve with the entry, use the exit curve. Coming down into here, want to rotate the car. He took a lot of curve in that. I've not seen a lot of people do that before, but still managed to make it work out. He almost spun, but he saved it due to applying the brakes at the right time. And he will come across the line to not set a representative that time, so he's going to find. So he'll probably put on a brand new set of softs, depends if they're really good. But ideally, you want to be using 1 set of soft compound tyres. If he wants, it looks like he's going for another lap time, but just in case he can't make it through, he might have to put on a brand new set of softs, which you don't want to do, because you need to save them for Q2 and Q3.
Just everything we've been saying there about the trickiness of this track coming into fruition. A brilliant looking lap from P's, all to be scuppered right at the end with a little bit too eagerness in the turn in and the accelerator. A first retirement of the session in there as well. Relentless Felter choosing to retire in the pits. He's quite comfortable at the top of a 121.2. But IRT Boompy, the first victim of that dreaded right-hander at turn 12 meeting with the barrier and cutting his session short. He will now start P20 and won't be able to set a valid time. AG Wuhan, the head admin in the AlphaTauri, about to set his first representative lap. And he goes provisional pole with a 21.0. Very, very strong lap from the head admin himself. One to watch out for in the later sessions, definitely.
Promising result there for AJ Wuhan, exactly what you need, especially in Q1 as well. So he can pop into the pit lane and just rest his feet until Q2 will arrive in a few minutes' time. Who else we got out there? We've got Ferg, who hasn't set a lap time just yet. Let's see what he's doing down in P17, coming towards turn 3 now. Rotates the car nicely, gets on the ball. He doesn't shift out to third gear, which Pease did last time round. Coming into turn 6, very flat tire, but you don't really want to hit that curb because it will unsettle the rear. This one can be a little bit difficult because I think you've got to straighten the brake here. You want to hit the curb and try not to run out wide through the exit of turn 6. Now coming through here, this can be a difficult one as well. You don't want to clobber the apex through here. You just want to avoid that. He didn't really take the curve through there. He missed it a little bit, but nevertheless, he still managed to make his way through. And now coming towards the end of sector 2, fast left-hander. And it's been used a lot of curb in there, which, boy, look at that, hit it nicely on both of them through turn 11 and turn 12. Exactly what you want to do as well, so no fear for Ferg. Coming to turn 13 then, I know a lot of drivers will be practicing. He hits the curbs, hit the curb nicely through there. Coming to turn 14, this one as well. Now coming into the penultimate corner. Might have a slight lock on entry, I can't really see from here. Coming towards the last corner then. And make sure the tyres don't overheat. And let's see what lap time he will set. This could be in the 20s. Just, oh, we actually goes quickest with a 21.0, so only a few inches quicker. But we're very close towards the 20s, Scott.
Well, just on the edge of a 29, a 28. Definite potential from these guys here. The previous champion, Relentless Ferg, of course, our season 4 champion, coming back for a full-time seat this season, showing us that he still has what it means to mix up there with the big boys. This is going to be a tantalising season already. KXI about to set his first competitive lap in Tier 1, making the return back after a very close championship in Tier 2, and he goes provisional P15, right on the cusp of the elimination zone. Seeb is coming into the pits, so he's going to have he's actually got no front wing. He's had a little kiss with the barrier somewhere on those mediums, so he's going to have time to get in a fresh set of softs and out and set a lap. Pease, though, with his mistake, of course, compromising his exit off the last corner, affected not only the lap he was on, but the lap he was starting again. He's in an out lap and looks to be on 1 lap old softs. So one to watch out for.
Opted to not choose a brand new set of softs, like I said. You want to save them for Q2 and especially for Q3, the main shootout as well. So if Pease has got confidence himself that tyre wear is still good. I mean, did a full lap on those tyres and they messed it up on the final corner, but the tyres still should be in good shape. But obviously, in Q3, I won't use them. We've got 5 minutes and 50 seconds left to go. So let's see if Pease can get a lap hooked together as we make our way across the finish line, start-finish line, as we make our way down into Tier 1. Down into 4th gear, hit the apex, run it out wide through turn 2. DRS enabled for this one. Still, those tyres are 1 lap all this, still looking good shape. Coming through turn 3, hit the apex for this one, down into 3rd gear, short shift to 4th, bring it over to the right, get good entry to the left. Now flat out corner is this one, not when you're in the race, you want to lift off there due to heavy fuel. And a 26.7 for the first sector, a bit of hesitation coming in towards turn 6 and turn 7 there. That's the throttle going on towards turn 8 and turn 9. Want to hit the apex for this one, run it out wide, which it does. Not meeting the wall, which Valtteri Bottas did back in the race in 2014. Turn 11 and turn 12, bring it in turn 11 and through turn 12 as well. Be careful on the exit. Oh, he almost lost. He loses it, and he makes contact with the wall. He survives though. Although usually you see people crashing on the other side of the barrier, but thankfully to Total Pease, it did not lose a wheel, which most people would in that scenario.
Yeah, very unfortunate. A strange run, like you say, making contact with the left side wall. Majority of people do just cut across into that right side wall on the exit. He did lose an end plate though, and with time 40, just lost his front left end plate. So he's going to have to sneak back into the pits. Luckily not far to go. Get that front wing changed, and he's going to have a 1 chance saloon to make it out of Q1 here.
Pease is under massive pressure. He'll definitely have to put on a brand new set of soft compound tyres. So he's using 2 tyres than he would have wanted Also, Sieb is on the back foot as well. He's on his outlap and he's currently switched over to the soft compound tyres. I'd expect him to be on the medium compound tyres. But yeah, Rudy as well down in P17. He's in a lap. I'm not quite sure. He's 3/10. Yeah, he's 3/10 up in the first sector. So Rudy then makes his way towards the middle sector. 7/10 up. So that's a good sign from Rudy. Just keep it nice and clean through turn 11 and turn 12 there. You can see the skid marks. I think it was from Het Bompje who spun and crashed in the wall there, like you said earlier on. And Nathan's retired knowing that he's safe. Rudy then makes his way through turn 13. Now coming through turn 14. Another right-hander. Misses the apex there. Doesn't run it out wide. So does he use all of the track that's available to him? Through the penultimate corner we go. And now through the final corner. Didn't run it out wide as much through the final corner. And let's see what lap time he's going to set then. It's going to be P4 still. That's a good lap time. 21.2. There's still more time to find for Rudy. But he's still safe. As Peace is in the pit still. Oh yeah, it was C-Raw Gamer we were talking about. So C-Raw Gamer then, his first sector, 26.7 like it was for Total P's. And a little bit deeper to turn 6 there. Now coming through turn 8 and turn 9. The apex for this one. Runs it out over the curb nicely as Giroud Vizza is the first driver to go in the 20, Scott. 20.9.
20.9 from Jeroen, the first one to dip below that 20 mark. He was sitting on P6, I believe, there, so not necessarily needing to go for a lap. Sieb's backed out, invalidating at that turn 12 right-hander. He will have time to go again, but he will need to do a quick battery recharge, get the tyres cooled down a little bit, and prepped and ready to go again. A lot of drivers coming to the pressure of Australia. These, you know, it is a street circuit after all. These walls are pretty tight and the curbs are even tighter.
Yeah, relentless track. It'll take a lot of punishment for this track especially. But yeah, Sieb on the back foot then. He can't go into the pit lane and put on a brand new set of tyres. Derouge goes up into P4 with a 24.1. But Sieb Raw Gamer will come across the line. He's not really a victim to go out in Q1 is Sieb Raw Gamer. He's usually there in Q3. Got good qualified pace, but obviously this track is not doing it. Doesn't really suit him at all unless he just can't find to get the lap hooked up. Total P's there. This will be his last attempt as he makes his way around the final corner to set a flying lap. 22.7 so far, but obviously he made a mistake through the final corner. That's why he's down in P18. So his last attempt then to try and make his way through to Q2. Just want to keep on board with C4 Game and see how he's doing. He's just 2/10 down on his previous best in the first sector, so I wonder if he's just slightly hesitant and not really confident. But yeah, coming through turn 8 and turn 9 then. Hooked it up perfectly, gets back on the throttle with no wheel spin. And let's see then coming through turn 11 and 12. Let's see, I will take it at 48.8 in the middle sector. He runs out wide and he does not invalidate. Last time he invalidated it, but this time he managed to get away with it. So C4 Gamer, one lucky driver to get away with the invalidation. Locks up into turn 13, but still rotates the car nicely. Coming through turn 14, hooks it up nicely, runs it out wide on the exit. Going through turn 15 here. Slight lock up on entry, double shifts, and he loses the rear end slightly as he applies the throttle. DRS wide open for C4 Gamer. Let's see if he can get himself out of the drop zone. And he does, goes up into P10, so the pressure is finally released off C4 Gamer. We'll go aboard with Total P's as he's currently down to P19. It looks to me he was 2/10 up in that middle sector, so he just needs to keep it nice and clean. I believe McLaren's just spun. In fact, Duval's out of the session. You can see on the full map that Duval has crashed at turn 11 and turn 12. Total P's is going to make his way towards the line now. And can he get himself out? Yes, he can. P4.
Brings him up to P4. Again, another driver in the 21.0s. While that was going on, we saw a nice little bit of teammate work between ISRL Knight and KXI in the Williams, giving each other a nice little tow to try and get KXI through. But he comes into the pits and it will not be better than P19 for him. Marty, P18, has invalidated. ISRL Knight, the only driver with potential to improve here. He's coming through the first sector. Let's see what sort of split he's at the first marker, and it is a 27.0, a 10th up on his time at this moment, a 10th and a half almost. Coming through the sweeping right-hander into the sharp right, down to third, up to fourth on exit. Chooses not to, he does run wide and validates, and that will be curtains for ISRL Knight, and that gives us our bottom 5 eliminated from Q1. IRT Boompay crashing out, the first victim at turn 12. KXI, the first Williams, also eliminated last season's Tier 2 runner-up, unable to make it out of Q1. Marty, another Tier 2 driver making the jump up into Tier 1 of Mercedes, unfortunately out with ISRL Knight joining his teammate. It wasn't actually Knight that was in the Williams, I've got that wrong. That must have been Jeroen of the Red Bull, unable to make it through. And CRL Duel, P16, but also crashing out, the second victim at turn 12 tonight already. And I suspect, not wanting to jinx it, not wanting to commentate curse it, but I suspect not the last.
I believe Robbie has crashed to the final corner. He's at the final corner. I can't really see what's happened, but I just went on board with ISO Knight and Total Ps. It looked like he has crashed to that final corner. I believe he'll be out of Q2. Regardless of him making it to Q2, he will not take part due to a damaged car, losing the wheel. So that's 6 drivers out of qualifying. We'll find out soon, as he won't be highlighted. Go further down, let's see if he's knocked out. Yes, he's knocked out. So 6 drivers then will be knocked out of Q2. I thought I saw Aston Martin stationary at the wall. I didn't see if he lost his wheel or not, but it's evident that he has lost his wheel. So Robbie, Duel, Knight, Marty, KXI, and Bompier were knocked out of Q2. Surprise from Bompier. We didn't really see what happened. I think, did you see it, Scott?
I did not, unfortunately. Just, I believe, a similar incident to the P's one, except not quite catching it as well and ending up off to the right. They've just losing it under tracks and on exit, that fast right-hander, unfortunately, for the little tree himself. Robbie, though, the time he set there would have had him P6 in that session, so a bit of a disaster for him at the end of that quali. One that could have definitely been competing for them top 10 places, and unfortunately it's P15 for him.
When you know you're safe, I know people like to go for a few laps in Q1 just to get it under their belt and get a feel for the track, but if you know you're let's say top 10 material in Q1, you don't want to be out there risking it all, and that's exactly what's happened to Robbie and potentially Duel, but Duel was edging towards the bottom stone, so he had to push and give it all or not. That's why he's currently down in P60. I don't think he managed to get the lap finish because he crashed. So, but people like Robbie, knowing that he's safe, he doesn't need to go for that lap, and that's what's cost him. Because I've seen it in the past where people are very quick, they're like top 10 material, and in Q1 they're out there and they're absolutely pushing. It's up to them whether they want to do it or not, but advice, you don't really want to do it because you're risking it all, and that's what's costing me potential P6 down to P15, and yeah, that's a massive mistake for him. So yeah, currently down to P15 when he had the top 10 material pace.
Yeah, like you say, you've got nothing really much to gain. Yeah, you might get a slightly faster time in Q1, but that's not going to affect you dramatically. And like you say, there's so much risk, and unfortunately this time for Robbie, he has came off worse for wear when it's came to that situation, starting at P15. Means only 4 drivers aren't going to make it through to the top 10 shootout of Q3, and it means that there's more potential that we could see somebody try and go for the medium. We did see a lot of guys use that in Q1. Just having a look, we do have a few guys out on the medium so far. AJ Wuhan of the Alpha Tauri, Mr. BT of the Haas, and Relentless Mark of the Alfa Romeo, all opting to come out on the mediums to begin with. But we're going to be on board with IRT T-Griff, as he will be the first to start a competitive lap here in Q2, crossing the line to start his lap now, heading in to the right-hander of turn 1, almost running slightly wide, losing the grip a little bit on exit, but catches it well enough. Of course, the first laps here likely just to be bankers, not going to be the fastest times we'll see these sessions from each and every driver, unless of course they can sync the lap up nicely. A lot of the guys just getting a lap time down, making sure they've got something on the board, because like you say, you never know what can happen around here. It's easy to invalidate, it's so easy to crash out, and we've seen it already, both of those in multiple times from some big profile drivers.
Yes indeed. It's nice to see Griff back here, because I know he was a Red Bull reserve driver and I think he's here full time, so it's nice to see Griff back here, and his middle sector is a 48.9 coming to the left. Fast left-hander and the right-hander too, takes him very nicely indeed. No obvious mistakes what I've seen so far. Now makes his way through turn 13, breaking the black box, bring it down to 4th gear, hit the apex nicely, run it out wide on that curve there, which exactly he has done. Turn 13, turn 14, exactly the same thing. Turn 15, screw off all the speed you've gained in turn 13, pick it back up through the final corner. DRS enabled for this home back straight, and let's see what lap time he'll set in the Ferrari. It's going to be a 21.4 farm to Griff. Let's see what others do. Out on track, we've got next up to cross the line is the AlphaTauri, and let's see where he goes. It's going to be P2, but obviously he's on the medium compound tyres. AJ Wuhan at 22.8. I think Mark's gone 6 tenths quicker in P2. Yeah, but for AJ, I think he will definitely go back on the soft compound tyres because that lap time will not get him through to Q3 unless other people might go on the mediums as well. But Mr. BT up into P3 as Rudy goes quickest with a 21.2.
Yeah, like you're saying, the three guys on the mediums here just showed you the pace difference between the two compounds. I don't see any of them sticking out with so many guys going on the softs. Nathan, 21.0, not far off the pole time we've seen in Q1. Rudy, 3 tenths off that time. T-Griff, about half a second off that time. But Relentless Mark, the best of the medium runners, still 1.3 seconds off the best time we've seen from Relentless Irun in Q1. Speaking of Irun, he's about to set his first lap of Q2, round in the final corner. That DRS wide open, cutting off the Sofina of the Williams rear wing. And it's a 20.7. 3 times clear at the front, almost 3 times clear anyway. Sees him likely be through to Q3 at the moment, but there's still plenty of laps to come in here. DeRoy on his second lap, or second lap at least on this set of tyres. Wonder if that's a used set from Q1 or if I couldn't quite catch if he was one of the early ones out. But either way, you don't want to be doing too many laps on these tyres because of course the top 10 will start on the tyres that they set their fastest lap in this session on. So you want to be minimising running time in each set of tyres. DeRoy though coming through the fast right-hander, keeping it nice and tidy, using as much as that curb as he can without losing traction and without invalidating the lap. Into the right of 13, using exit again, and then into 14. 2 corners to go here, a tricky left and a tricky right. Both can be perilous in their own way when it comes to traction, but getting through them relatively nicely. A little wide in the entrance to turn 1 there. Down the straight to set his first lap of the session. It is a 21.3. 5 tenths off Jeroen, but we do know Jeroen has got some serious pace in this grid and will definitely be a title contender this season. Not far off the likes of Rudy and Nathan though.
I concur with that statement there, Scott. Yeah, DeVue just done 2 laps on those tyres, so will he opt to go for a brand new set? If he's safe enough there, because do you really want to start on 2 lap old tyres? I know it's only 2 laps old, but tyre wear is absolutely crucial, isn't it, Scott, on this game?
It is,
and it's track like this as well.
Exactly, it's so huge. We know how powerful the undercut can be around here now. Of course, there's no sense, going for an undercut if you're having to be forced into it. You want to have that strategy up your sleeve to deploy when you want, and especially a street circuit after all, close racing lap 1. You might think that little extra, 5-6% of tyre wear status, that's not going to make a difference. That makes all the difference in these guys here. That can be about a 10th a lap. And a 10th a lap, well, look at that. That could cost you going from P2 to P3, P4. And we've only had 10 laps set already. Such a tight grid. Every little thing counts here. Pease is on a lap. He'll be hoping to not leave it as late as he did in Q1. Hoping to get a nice banker in early. Of course, the Englishman studying in the Welsh countryside. We wonder if we'll see a nationality change. I believe he is representing Jamaica this season.
Oh, he's done it again, almost. That was so close this time, but didn't lose his end plate. But while you were talking, Andy Jim went up to P3 with a 21.1, and Seaville Game invalidated in turn 12 again on his flying lap. So he's currently going for another flying lap on the same set of the soft compound tyres. He's only got 1 lap to do it on those tyres because he's running out of fuel. But Total Peas have done it yet again. Seaville Game and Total Peas looks like they're struggling through turn 11 and turn 12, while Ferg pops himself up to P3. Look at Alpine in P3 and P4 there, looking very strong indeed.
Stolid showing at the moment. Of course, touching on that, Alpine P3 and P4, not just crucial for this division, crucial for all divisions. Remember, returning again for Season 6 combined constructors, so every result from Tier 1 through 2, 3 and all the way down to 4 matters in the combined constructors battle. And Alpine, Ferg and Ange doing very good for their show, and Wouter, returning champion, here to defend his throne. He's going to set his first time, and it is a 27. 2,000s clear of Jeroen at provisional pole at the moment, and you've got the feel with a lap like that, he would fancy his chances able to just put his feet up and retire. Pease, according to this, half a tenth up in his personal best. Turn 12, taking a little bit more cautious this time, doesn't invalidate, doesn't lose much in the way of grip, but does lose a bit of potential speed there on what he has got in his locker. Of course, maybe opting, you can see this at times, it's not all about who's the quickest out and out, it's about who can be the most consistent, and on a track like this that's so unforgiving with some of these curbs, that can be the difference here. He is going to round the final corner, opening that DRS off that Mercedes, down, power to the line, and goes provisional P5 with a 21.105.
I just want to say while that was happening, AJ spun coming through turn 11 and turn 12. Remember, he set his lap time on the medium compound tyres, switching over to the soft compound tyres, and he's ruined his first lap by spinning through those ruthless corners there. So will he continue for another lap on these set of tyres? Will he go back in the pit lane? I know C4 Gamer has, and AJ is going to go in the pit lane then. So presumably he's going to put on a brand new set of soft compound tyres, and he will go for it again. So he'll be on the back foot there, along with C4 Gamer down in P40. Mr. BT, he's on the soft compound tyres. He's currently set his best lap time on the mediums, so expect him to... Oh, he's gone out wide just a tad though, and he's evaluated. He'll be frustrated with himself, but he needs to back off now and save the energy and cool down the tyres, because if you do it early like that, it's good, because if you do it later in the lap, obviously you used up most of the tyre wear, used up most of the fuel, but early in the lap, you can save that battery, you can cool down your tyres and save the fuel and go for it again. But it looks like he's still pushing though, so it looks like he still wants to find out what lap time he could have set, but obviously it won't count, and I'll have to go for it again.
Yeah, 3 tenths up in his best, according to this, so would have been a 22-1, sorry. I'm not quite sure on that. I would say he's got a bit more pace in that in his locker anyway. Number 88 on the front of Haas, I'm sure Mark will be loving that, having somebody else with this number. But yeah, it's an interesting one there. He is jumping into the pits. He'll be doing the same as AG and putting on a fresh set of softs. A lot of these drivers be getting low in sets of soft tyres here, but when you've got a track like this where overtaking is such a pain, such a difficulty, every bit of track position, especially in the grid, matters. And if you can sneak into the top 10, even if you haven't got much in the way of tyre wear to start your Q3 shootout, or even to finish your Q3 shootout with a competitive lap, starting 10th might be the difference between having a good race and having a poor race starting 11th.
Bang on there, Scott. You bang on there, mate.
But DeRoy, he is currently on the cusp of this top 10 shootout. The few of the guys up the top choosing to retire: Pease, Nathan, Jeroen, Wouter and Ferg. So top 5 of our top 6, actually our full top 6, thinking they have nothing left to do. Only a few minutes left in this session, so it'll be down to the bottom 8 to try and uproot them, and maybe we could see one of these guys be a bit overconfident and be on the brink of losing their Q3 status here. DeRoy round the final turn, DRS wide open, throttle to the floor. What kind of lap time can he post here? It goes P7 with a 21.111, 6 thousandths of P's, 2 thousandths ahead of Mark. And if that doesn't show you the competition that there is in this grid, I don't know what will.
So tight, like I said, the whole of last season, probably the season before, it's just so tight, this grid. We've got AJ Wuhan going for another lap on a different set of tyres, so he's used 2 sets of these so far. 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in this qualified session, so everybody has to get their laps in now. As we come down into turn 3 for AJ, then our turn 4, go down to third gear for the extra rotation, flat out through turn 6 here. Had a slight lift off though, as I've seen down at the bottom of the graphic. 7 tenths up in the first sector, but obviously he set his best lap time On the medium compound tyres, you expect a massive pace difference between the softs and mediums in 1 lap pace. Coming through here, it can be a difficult section sometimes. Very easy to validate and get wrong, potentially hit the wall as well due to traction. Now coming through turn 11 and turn 12, one of my favourite corners to watch, but one of the corners I hate to drive. Look at that, the amount of speed you have to carry, the amount of commitment. DRS wide open for this third DRS zone. Don't really see much overtaking going on here unless you get right behind your opponent if they make a mistake coming out of turn 12. Or if you're on different tyres as well, due to different strategies. Coming down this penultimate corner we go, down to second gear, short shifted to third and fourth. And let's see, they're coming around the final corner, it takes it nicely, uses all of the track, almost got the validation there as we come towards the line. And this lap time is going to be P3, so in the fact in 20.8 as well, so that's a very good lap time for AJ, but obviously he would have wanted to do that on the first set of tyres. We've got CRC Gamer coming through turn 14 now makes his way through the penultimate corner, turn 15, takes it to the third gear, goes a bit wide on exit, coming through the final corner here, gets back in the power, DRS enabled, and can he get himself into Q3? We're about to find out. Oh, he goes P4. Fantastic lap time from C, but that's what he could do when he can hook it up together, but that's the lap you need. And Jaime, what's he doing? He's currently not on a lap time, he's currently down to P11. I think he's just been on a lap time but made a mistake somewhere, and he's currently down to P11. He's got 30 seconds left to go, so that's it for Jaime. He's currently out on qualifying, can't make it around the track in time, so that's him done. Where's Mark? Mark coming towards the first 2 corners, so he's about to start his flying lap on a brand new set of the soft compound tyres. Has he set his best lap time on the mediums? No, it's actually a brand new set of soft.
Yeah, brand new set for Mark. Currently P10, obviously not feeling too safe, rightly so. Another person, like we're saying, Jaime not making it through into Q3. He's lost his chance. He's actually matched Mark, sitting the exact same time down to the thousands there. But T-Griff as well, choosing to retire in the pits, not having enough time to get out and get a lap in. But it will be between these last few guys. Jaime can't set a lap time. Ange is invalidated, so he won't say it. The only person that can uproot Mark here is Mr. BT. He's currently 7 tenths up in his best time, of course. The best lap he's been on the mediums, a 22.4. So his only real shot on a fresh set of softs here. And it will be between the Englishman of Mr. BT and the Maltese master that is Relentless Mark. I'm sure he'll love that nickname, and it's the only time I'm ever going to say that. BT, though, coming down to the final start-finish line, crosses and goes for a 21.1, and that will be curtains for his qualifying session. P13 is all they can muster, and Mark sneaking through by the fact he set the lap time first. Jaime, very unfortunate there for him.
Yeah, that can be annoying sometimes. I remember that happened in Bahrain 2018. It was Romain Grosjean and was it Sergio Perez who had the exact same lap time, but obviously I think it was one of the 2 first that set the lap time first, so they had to, obviously Grosjean had to get knocked out there because Sergio Perez already set it first. I think it was definitely Romain Grosjean or somebody else, probably was Perez back in 2018 or something in Bahrain. But yeah, that can be annoying when you set the exact same lap time. But look how close it is between Giroud and Walter. P1 and P2 separated by 2,000. We've got AJ in the hunt there as well in P3, looking very comfortable there. C4 Gamer in P4, obviously we know he's used quite a few set of softs, so we might only have 1 set of soft left in qualified 3. Nathan in P5, Berg in P6, Rudy P7, the total P's down there in P8, DeVuge in P9, and Mark in P10. Drivers one knocked out is Jaime, Andy Jim, Mr. BT, and Griff. Robbie did not take part because he smashed his car to pieces on the final corner on the first qualifying lap.
De facto P15. Doing enough to make out a Q1, but not enough to keep the car together for Q2. We love to see it. There's always one. There is always one in the season opener, I find. But what an incredibly close Q2 there. The bottom, I mean, from P8 to about P12, separated by half a tenth, if that. Incredible. The top 10 all separated by 0.322 of a second. That gives us a tantalising prospect here of really any one of these guys could have a chance at pole here. Firm favourites, of course, Valter, Jeroen, I would say Jacob and Sieb, the only drivers to make it into the 120s so far, but with the grid only being separated by 3 tenths is nothing around here. It's so easy to make a slight mistake and lose that time and screw yourself over on your best qualifying lap. And with only 12 minutes to go, limited tyres, these guys aren't going to have much time or opportunity to get a clean competitive lap in. It is effectively time trial now. Nothing to lose here. If you crash out, well, your session's over, but you're not going to forfeit another session. And the tyres are pretty much in the bin. Of course, the guys in here, they will have a fresh new set of Q3 tyres, so they will get to use them. One fresh set. Some of them, looks like a lot of them are actually opting to go out in fresh tyres to begin with. So maybe having a second set there in reserve if need be. Nobody opting to go on a warning banker set for the first lap. But it looks to be Nathan JB leading the pack out at the moment. Valter not far behind. Pease choosing to sacrifice position on track, dropping back, trying to work himself into a little bit of a gap almost. Maybe not too excited at the prospect of having 2 or 3 cars smack bang it behind him. But of course now there's a bit of a queue through sector 3. They're going to have to space themselves out because the slightest little bit of dirty air can have a detrimental effect on your downforce, particularly through the corners such as 3, 4, 5. We're having to go flat out as key. But the first time of Nathan will begin here in Q3. He'll have the first opportunity to set as a banker down and see what sort of pace he's had. He's been sort of on the cusp of that top 5 in the session so far. Has he got more in his locker? Has he been sandbagging us so far? We'll find out in about a minute and 20 seconds, I suppose.
Taking it very nicely through turn 3, turn 4, turn 5, and turn 6 there, using a lot of track as well. Coming through turn 7 and turn 8 now, hitting the apex nicely, rolling over the curb in turn 8. Now let's see, coming through turn 9, or turn 8 and turn 9, I get confused with these corners. hitting it nicely, up into 4th gear immediately through there. Let's see, this long left hand through here until we approach turn 10. Hold your breath for this one. Hope you get it right. Hope you hit the apex nicely. Hope you don't invalidate or hit the wall, which he hasn't done. He hit the corners, absolutely spot on there. Coming through turn 13 we go then. Hit the apex for this one, run it out wide. And save on for turn 14 here. Hit the apex, go over the grass a little bit. Ultimate corner, down to 2nd gear. Scrub off all the speed on entry. Don't want to go wide through there and lose all your time you've gained. Coming through the home straight now. DRS open, and let's see what lap time Nathan's going to set for us. It's a 20.9. We've got more coming across the line, which is Walter, who goes 20.9 on provisional pole. Alpine next across the line. Berg 21.2. And Pease goes quickest with a 20.8. So Pease has taken provisional pole after he looked like he was on the back foot early on in this session. Jeruvas is coming across the line now, and it's P1. It's a 20.6 and immediately goes 2 tenths quicker than total Pease. Rudy has popped himself up to P2. Good job for Rudy up there. And who else is about to cross the line now? We've got DeRuge, who's on a flying lap in the middle sector. Nathan, AJ's gone up to P6 in the AlphaTauri. We've got the McLaren of Seymour Gamer next across the line, who is not on a flying lap. He's currently on an out lap, or he's going back in the pit lane. Not quite sure what Steve's doing there, but yep, he's in the pit lane. And what's DeRuge doing? He's currently in P8. He's coming towards the penultimate corner, but not on a representative lap time. Looks like he made a mistake on his first lap, so he's going to go for it again on his second lap. Makes his way across the line to set a not a representative lap time. But there you go then, Jeruvas the quickest out of all of them. Then it goes Rudy, then total P. But Walter down in P4 with a 20.9. I believe that's 2 tenths slower, correct me if I'm wrong, Scott. 2 tenths slower than Q2's fastest time, which he did set, right?
Yeah, correct there. It was a high 20.7 himself and Jeroen setting in Q2, so almost a tenth and a half, let's say, off his best time so far. Interesting there on the first runs, DeRoy making a mistake, having to go again. Here he's currently 8 tenths down, or up, sorry, on his Q1 his sector 1 time, so a mistake later on the lap, perhaps in his first ever run in Q3. Sieb doing something similar, and Mark, the only one actually to break the lines of the track. He dove straight back into the pits after getting an invalidation on his first lap. DeRoy though turning that 7/10 deficit into a 3-second advantage. So a mistake, I'm assuming, at the right hander before the long left through sector 2. He is going to round the third to last corner, getting very loose on exit, and that will be that lap time gone and dusted, and does choose to pull into the pits.
Just waiting for those to come back out of the pits. All 10 drivers are now in the pit lane as we come towards the most important part of Q3 then. Who will take pole position? It looks like Giroud, 20.6. Best time so far in any of the 3 qualified sessions. Pulling it out of the bag when it has to be, but obviously, can he find more time? Rudy, interested up in P2 as well. He's done a fantastic job up there in P2 with a 20.7. He's regaining his form after making a few mistakes in Q1 and Q2 up there in P3. Can he get it hooked together and potentially snap back pole for the open season? Or will it be going to Walter, our defending champion from season 5? Or can it be anybody else? We've got AJ, we've got Nathan, Ferg as well. Any of the top 10. What about Mark as well down there in P10? What can they do? Because I know they always bring up surprises. Mark, obviously, last season, took pole in the first race, which was back in Silverstone, a long time ago. Took pole back in Silverstone, and it ended up Rudy who won the race.
Could we see a repeat of that? Could history repeat itself again? I bet you Wouter is praying for that if it means he gets another season like he did last season. Very much in the quiet session right now, but it'll be a case of don't blink or you'll miss all 10 cars leaving the garage in quick succession here. 4.5 minutes to go. Of course, only a minute and a half to do a lap. Just over, so expect to see them leaving just around the 2-minute mark, just slightly before, I would say.
I just left the session for you. I just been kicked out.
No, I believe you're still here. I will quickly send you another invite.
Yeah, it's one of them things where it says everybody's leaving the session, but it's probably just me. Hopefully, can get back in.
Fingers crossed. I'll send you a quick backup invite. Hopefully be able to get you back in. You're not missing anything at the moment. The only thing you are missing actually is Mark, the first to blink and the first to leave the garage for his second lap. Of course, I'm validating his first lap in the Alfa Romeo this season. A very strong competitor at times. Sort of not a regular podium sitter. That was sort of dominated by P. Giroud and Wouter throughout the season, but definitely marked himself down as best of the rest. He'll be looking to go a little bit better, push into that top 3, show what he's really capable of. Course, joined back in season 4, was a tier 2 driver for the first 3 races, showed some very good pace, and got himself up into tier 1, taking his first podium in Belgium of that season. Kicking on with incredible pace last season, one that keeps on improving and improving. Despite his small stature, he is the Yuki Tsunoda of this grid, coming in at a measly 4'11", or thereabouts. We love you too, Mark. We really do, my good friend. But he will be the first to set this final lap. The car's a little bit more spread out this time.
I'm just popping back in the session so I'm not really sure what's going on. I should be here in a few seconds time. There we go, I'm back in.
Lovely stuff. So Mark starting his final competitive lap of quali, I would assume, unless of course he's going for a nice little back-to-back on a fresh set of softs, so potential for that. Down the first DRS straight into turn 3, getting down to second gear, quickly up to third, choosing not to jump up to fourth, but doing so on exit. We've seen a few drivers jump up to fourth on entry, jump back down to third for the rotation, and then back up to fourth for the traction on exit. Purple sector 1 according to the track map down there in the bottom right, so a good lap so far. Jeroen getting out of the way nicely as he comes into the left hander, using as much as that curb as he can get away on the inside, trying not to take too much though, because it can unsettle the car. And now it's all about how brave is he feeling. The left hander of 11, the right hander of 12, DRS now open on the little back straight, I suppose we can call it, into one of the corners, getting reprofiled for next season. So hopefully we'll see that in F1 2022. That will change up the track altogether. and the penultimate corner, second gear, up to third, up to fourth, round the final corner, fifth gear, foot down, DRS wide open, and up to the line. It is provisional P4, not a what's that pole position moment, a what's that P4 moment, but a 20.8, nonetheless a very solid time from the Maltese man. Rudy setting a 20.767. I think that is a slight improvement on his time. Or is he just starting his lap? I think he may just be actually starting his lap. All the drivers are a different sort of staggered layout through these final laps, opting for the clean air instead of trying to get a bit of a drag or a bit of a slipstream on each other like we maybe seen in the first runs. But Rudy, 600s up in his best time. Purple Sector 1. So at the moment on for a 20.7. Still needs to find a 10th if he's going to challenge Jeroen, but of course Jeroen also going to be on a lap. Can he find it through the final sector and a half? A lot of that time could come from these next two corners. We've seen it before, we'll see it again. Who is the bravest? Into the right hander, taking as much curb on entry and using as much of the track on the left exit as he can. DRS wide open down the back street as AJ Wuhan goes. Missed that, unfortunately. A 20.5, and Rudy cutting too much of the curb and unfortunately losing it. What a lap from AJ though. A 20.577, 300s clear of Jeroen, who's just about to finish his final lap. Let's see what he can do. Rudy, with that invalidation, won't improve. It'll be P3 at best for him. But Jeroen coming down to the line. Can he improve and came back pole? Yes, he can. He does so by just over a 10th of a second. Next up, the Aston Martin of Nathan JB. He's up in his time according to this. Half a 10th only. But that half a 10th could see him jump Rudy, who will not improve as he is in the pits. Rounding the final corner, up to 4th, 5th, 6th, and DRS wide open down the final straight. And it is a 20.776. He does improve, but not by enough. Next up, Seabeast, one and only time. Where can he get in this top 10 shootout? It is a 20.991. Moves up to P9, gaining one place. Not the qualifying E1. The defending champion, though, Walter, goes P2 with a 125.62. Just beating out AJ to P2 at the moment. But AJ did have time and potential for another lap. He is invalidated. So the last man on a lap is Relentless Ferg, our Tier 4 champion. An absolute veteran of the league, and I've just seen that he's in a 130.2 and chose to show me that by going wide. And that'll be curtains for qualifying here in Australia. Relentless Jeroen getting pole with a 124.64. Relentless Walter second with a 125.62, and AJ Wuhan your top three with a 120.577. I'll give you another invite, Jamie. I see you had a little bit of technical difficulty there again, my friend.
Yeah, it's just a shame, really. I joined back the qualifying session, then I had to restart the game and stop my end. So I'm back in. And who's taking pole position, by the way, while I joined it?
It is Jeroen Visser, or Relentless Jeroen, at 120.464. Seeing us creep below the 20.5s into the sort of low 20s here. Walter second, AJ Wuhan in third with P's fourth, Rudy fifth, Nathan sixth. And we'll get the final rundown of this top 10 here in a moment. But what a qualifying session. The laps flying in there at the end. We even, unfortunately, missed the best lap from Jacob himself. Only enough to get P3, but showing his pace there behind the two front runners, I would say. Jeroen, though, getting it by almost a 10th on Walter. 2 thousandths away from getting it by a 10th. Walter and Jacob separated by very little, as is P. So watch out for the battle between those three for 2, 3 and 4. Rudy, 3 tenths back, of course, invalidating his final run. What could have been for him in the Ferrari. Nathan P6 with a 20.7. Mark P7 with a 20.8. DeRoy P8 with a 20.9. As is Seeb, not much separating those two there. And Relentless Ferg rounds off the top 10. Making a mistake, and his final lap sees him start on the 5th row, and the last of the guys starting on their Q2 tyres. Of course, all of them setting it on the softs, all of the top 10 starting on the softs, and it's blue skies here in Melbourne, but that could obviously change later on. But for now, we've got to assume blue skies, all sun, all fun.
Yeah. I can't really see anything on my screen right now. All I'm looking at is empty garages, but no graphics on the left-hand side of my screen, so can't really see any information. But Walter and Jeroen Visser, though, pole at the start of the season. What a way to start the season. But obviously the race coming up with 29 laps on the board. The strategy should be soft and medium or soft to hard, depending how long they'll take those soft compound tyres. But the chance of a safety car around here is likely, so strategy could change over. Who knows? But about to find out in these next 29 laps.
Absolutely. Soft medium, definitely possible. Soft hard, of course, for those that maybe want to go for a little bit of undercut and don't want the risk trying to stretch out the mediums towards the end. But like you say, the ever-looming threat. We've already seen 2 cars retire in the wall in qualifying. 3, actually, if we include Robbie. So plenty of potential, especially when these guys start battling with heavy fuel, with dirty air, and just the thought of every position mattering here. Everybody wants to start their season the best they can. All 20 of these drivers will be gunning for that one spot. Of course, the main spot on top of the podium. And in about an hour's time, we'll find out who will take the first victory of 2022 in CRL Season 6 Tier 1. And who will lead the championship as we head to next week's race. But before all that, we've got plenty of excitement here in Australia. We'll take to the grid in a few seconds here and get an idea of what the drivers are thinking. It would be nice if Codemasters could implement some sort of graphic, maybe a race strategy graphic, maybe just some weather info there for us spectators instead of just having a look at the garage like you said. But we're in anyway now, and we've got something at least semi-exciting to look at as the drivers take to the formation lap. The top 13 all starting in the softs, as is Marty in P18. Of course, the top 10 having to use the tyres they started. They set their Q2 best lap time on. The rest of the runners from P14 T-Griff all the way down to P20, excluding that Mercedes and Marty, all opting for the mediums. Nobody opting to risk for the hards. I don't see why you would. I agree with that decision from all the drivers there. So it'll be interesting to see. Of course, potential for a safety car could be a roll of the dice and could help these medium runners out. Or it could help the soft runners out. Or we could see none at all.
Are you on the formation lap?
What was that, sorry?
Are you on the formation lap?
Yes, we're on the formation lap. It just came up, you've left again.
I was stuck qualifying. I was still in qualifying. Just looking at the cars. I was on board with the Williams car, just going round and round and round. I was just wondering what was going on. But hopefully I can get back in before this doesn't really happen. It never happened to me before, but hopefully I can get back in without any problems. Where are the cars right now?
They are just at the end of the back straight. The DRS just coming through the, I believe it is turn 13, the right-hander. First of the 2 right-handers back to back at the third sector.
I think I'll have plenty of time to get back in. Don't want to miss the start of the race, especially here, Season 1. Jeroen Visser looking for redemption after... Oh, it says you're on lap 1. No, it's not.
It wouldn't be a new season of Cone without the inaugural or the standard Codemasters glitch. We love to see them. It's a staple of league racing. I find a Codemasters connection issue or a timing issue of some sort, and this season hasn't disappointed. As a strange front grid you don't often see in Formula 1 these days. A Williams on the front row with a Haas in P2.
There we go, just made it back in as soon as they started to line up, so just in time. I'll let you take over.
Brilliant. It'll be an interesting run down to turn 1 here. 20 cars, 20 drivers, 29 laps, and only one thing standing from a victory. That's of course each other. It's 5 red lights, and we are underway for Season 6 of Cone Racing League. Valter in the Haas getting a good start alongside Jeroen as they go down to turn 1, getting the inside, and he does make the move for the lead. AJ Wuhan getting through as well, as Jeroen's lost 2 spaces off the start already. Yellow flags further back, it seems as if Siebes dropped quite a few positions, and here comes Pease going for a move on Jeroen. Side by side through 3 and 4. Pease forced to the outside, and now this is when things get tricky. gets a little bit tighter through that flat right-hander. And here comes Rudy as well. Jeroen having a disaster of a start, down from P1 to P5 at the end of Sector 1 already.
Yeah, that's not good from Jeroen, is it? It's all off to turn 1 when Walter went down the inside, but he's got to defend from Nathan and Mark now. Nathan trying to go down the inside, but look at Mark side by side with Nathan. He takes advantage after Nathan failed to get past Jeroen. As they go side by side, one of them's have to yield, which looks like it's going to be Mark as Nathan slots him back into P6 there. Yeah, but what a disaster start for Jeroen Vizard. Needs to keep his cool now and try and gain back those positions he's lost. But look at AJ, he is right behind Walter. Here's AJ, we'll have him starting P3 on the grid.
Seen the pace AJ had throughout all of the qualifying sessions. Of course, starting P3 up to P2 already. And if this is a way to start your intention for the season, mixing it up here with these big boys in Australia on the first opening round, well, if that doesn't say your intentions, I don't know what will. Looks as if BT's had a little bit of an issue, as has Ferg further back. So
McLaren's in the pit. No, yeah, both McLaren's in the pit. So something's gone off between the guys down there. Ferg's also in the pits after starting the top 10. So those guys are disadvantaged already. But yeah, AJ then, he's all over the back. Oh wow, it looks like he's got the confidence so far and the speed throughout this early part of the race.
Definitely showing it. Yeah, a little bit of contact must have happened down through the field. The McLarens got opting for the hards, BT and Ferg opting for the mediums, so don't expect them to see a stop from them again. Valter defending the inside through the right-hander of, I believe, turn 8 through the wrong left-hander now. Not really an overtaking move unless you can get it done early, because you really don't want to be going side by side through this fast left-right. Jacob almost getting a little bit of a slide there, holding it nice, using that battery, much the same as Valter to be fair when it comes to percentage wise, but he's hooked right onto the back. But he's got to be careful though, it's not just a battle between him and Valter, because Mr. Pease is in the rear view mirror. Further back, Robbie getting past T-Griff, the two medium runners through the final sector.
Yeah, I saw that. So basically what happened was T-Griff went wide coming out of turn 11, went on the grass, and Robbie had to overspeed and use the CRS and got past him there. So thanks to T-Griff's mistake, Robbie moved up into place from P15 to P11. So good progress so far, as Robbie is now the highest medium runner as DRS is enabled, so the drivers can start opening it and just see what they can do for later on in the race. But like you said, AJ gonna be patient. He can't afford to make it pull his punches too early, because if he does, might end up making mistakes later. He's gonna wait it out and see what he can do later in this race, because yeah, still early in the race. Like you said, he's got P's lingering around in his rear view mirrors. They're going to be really careful. Let's see what Giroux can do is after starting P1, taking pole position, dropping down to P5. Basically what it was, remember Lewis Hamilton back in 2016 when he had a poor start, just dropped all the way down. It's basically what happened to him down in P5 there. Just lost all those positions, just went offline, didn't find himself in a rhythm, and ended up dropping down the grid. But AJ then had a little bit of twitch coming through turn 10 and turn 11. And their total P is actually closer than AJ's towards Wilder after making a little bit of mistake without those corners. But yeah, no chance of a move there for those guys down there in P1, P2 and P3.
Of course, Jacob having the aid of the DRS supplied by Valter, of course, to defend from P's. Valter doesn't have that opportunity, and with his double DRS zone coming up here, he's going to be looking very, very, very open for a move here. Moving to the right hand side to defend the inside. Jacob not quite close enough to get the move so far. Through turn 1 and 2, there's going to be the double DRS activation. He's got that battery discharging to get the extra bit of joules and energy through the powertrain, but not quite able to make the move on Valter for the lead. Valter defending very well, positioning his car just far enough to cut off the move without making a dangerous blocking or defence there. Pease though sticking to the back of them, really not far away, and it is very much the tier 1 standard of a DRS train. It looks as if we've got a spin or an incident further back. T-Grift, he was caught up himself in a little incident with Marty. Marty, of course, on the softs versus T-Grift's mediums. Marty going for the move, and a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact, just a little bit of traction loss from the Mercedes. But here we go, DRS again, and P's getting a very good run out of the right-hander. We could see a move from him on Jacob here. He goes down the inside, gets squeezed. And
Oh,
and
contact!
that's
That's the contact. It was Pease out of the race. Jarufasa made contact with Total Pease there. I just saw it from off camera, off board, shall I say. And Total Pease pulled. Jarufasa couldn't avoid him, and the safety car has appeared. Our first retirement has gone towards Total Pease. That's a shame for him. He tried to make a move down at AJ. Could arguably say that AJ did not leave enough room there. I think he was alongside. Was he full alongside? I'm not quite sure. It all unfolded very quickly there. But the safety cars came out perfectly for our medium runner, Robbie, and Pep Bompia from starting last up into P2. So looking very good for the medium runners so far. The soft runners had to pit very early to get rid of their first set of tyres. And let's see what people have opted to go for. Has Mark pitted on a brand new set of softs, it seems on that graphic? Yes, he has. He's on a brand new or on a used set of soft compound tyres. Rudy's on the medium, so he'll have to stop again. And AJ's on the hards, looking to go to the end of the race on these hard compound tyres. But yeah, mixture strategy now, thanks to this early safety car. People have benefited. Robbie, Bobbia, KXI, Tigriff, and Knight, and Walter, our net race leader, down in P6 then, having to make a move on these cars.
big benefit for the guys at the back there. The two McLarens, BT and Ferg. Ferg picking up a 5-second time penalty though coming into the pits. Not how he would have liked, but that'll bring them back into contention for a better race. Looking back at that incident, I would say from what we had, Pease every right to make the move. They are maybe getting squeezed a little bit on the curb by Jacob. It will definitely be one for the stewards. I'd be very surprised if it doesn't go to their office. And a sort of glitch we've seen more often recently than we did, say, a few months ago back towards the launch period of the game, is the ghosting not taking effect quick enough. Of course, we do have ghosting. There's Jacob making slight contact with Wouter through the right.
They both get a 5-second time penalty. Griff picks up a penalty. Was that? No, it was a 3-second time penalty. So, did he actually cut the corner on the safety car? Was that earlier on, before the safety car? No, he actually picked it up on the safety car period. So, to Griff there, already getting a 3-second time penalty behind the safety car. But yeah, I don't know. I was on board with AJ. He just looked tantalisingly close towards Walter's rear end. I don't know if he's damaged his end plate. It's not evident for what I can see, but he might have a little bit of green end plate damage, light green or something like that. But not what you want early at the Australian Grand Prix. So early drama going on here, not just between Pease and AJ, but also between Walter and AJ as well. So lot of investigation going on tonight's race.
Absolutely, it'll be Michael Massey, eat your heart out, I suppose. Wouter, of course, stands very good chance of getting that 5-second penalty removed, unless, of course, he serves it under safety car. That'll, although, you know, potential, the time penalty isn't really going to affect him. It does in a way, because if he does pit again, even if it's not under safety car, he's going to get held up. He's going to come out in a different bit of the train, and he could get stuck in traffic, whereas if he didn't have the 5 seconds, he would have. If he does go to the end, it is a sort of worry. You are thinking, I've got 5 seconds here. Is it going to get removed? If not, I would likely say, as a steward and as a person that's been in this league quite a few seasons, that I'd be very surprised if it doesn't get removed. But if a late safety car comes out, he's going to serve that 5 seconds if he does pit again, and that's just time lost that he cannot redeem.
Exactly, but yeah. So if Walter can go to the end of these tyres, he can get it appealed. But if he has to make another pit stop again, like you said, he'll end up serving that 5-second time penalty, losing time in the pit lane, and end up in a different part of the train where he would have wanted to be initially. But safety car is the end of this lap, and Robbie, despite crashing out in Q2, currently in P15, or started P15 and currently in P1, Bompia has gained massively from the back of the grid up towards P2. So let's see what he can do. But we've got new people mixed amongst the front runners, and let's see how they do. Walter has to try and make his way past those guys.
Yeah, one of them up in there. KXI, of course, he found himself at this sort of position in Tier 2 all the time. It's a different thing being P3 in a safety car restart in Tier 1 than it is in Tier 2. So, one to watch out on. Hope, best wishes to him. Know the guy is a top guy and fully deserves to be in this division, but we'll see how things go in the safety car restart. Robbie leaving it nice and late, giving plenty of space to the safety car and getting away, getting a nice jump in Boompe. 1.5 seconds already. Boompe caught sleeping, and here comes KXI on Boom. That was a That was an interesting one there. It looked as if KXI on the timing board was going for a move there, and then suddenly he's a second back. Not too sure on that, but Wouter getting the move on Knight already, cutting his way through this traffic.
Crucial move as Rudy tries to go around the outside. Here's the inside line for the next corner on Mark. They go side by side, but Rudy made contact and he manages to avoid the wall there. Now he's going to watch out for Andy right behind him. But Mark on these soft compound tyres needs to use these tyres to make his way through back to the field and see what he can do as he goes on the medium set of tyres later in this race. But Wouter all over the back into Griff as he makes our way down into this corner here. To Griff goes out wide. He goes off the track. But Wouter, can he make his way through the switchback? No, to Griff defends it. But Wouter's going to be careful, didn't get mixed up in these cars, because if he does, he'll make contact with them, and that's his race potentially over.
Absolutely, of course, he unlikely needing to stop. There's a good chance he can try and milk these mediums out to the end. The guys in front of him will all need to stop. He goes for a move around the outside. Lovely stuff. A little bit of action further back. It looks to be Jacob and Mark scrapping, of course. 2-lap-old softs versus 2-lap-old mediums. The hard solid. Go ahead, Jamie.
AJ got on the grass there and almost half spun the car because you apply the brakes and got on the grass and lock up the rear tyres. That's exactly what's happened as Mark makes his way through. I think AJ had to let him go there because those softs versus those hards, brand new. I think it's inevitable that Mark was going to come out on top on those soft compound tyres. But good try, good defence from AJ there, but sadly he couldn't quite make it stick for him. But crucially, Wouter has got himself 2 cars ahead because ISO United to Griff are not really in his race. And Mark, who's closer towards Wouter, is in P7, so he's going to make his way past those two before he can do anything about Wouter. Wouter is currently at the back of KSI as Robbie's extended his gap towards Het Bompje. 1.3 second gap is between those two, so Robbie's got himself out of DRS contention towards Het Bompje. KXI will be under pressure now from Wouter right behind. There's no DRS, of course, so Wouter will have to try and make his way past if he can into turn 13. Mark has got past ISO 9, they go side by side, but Mark, better exit there, gets past ISO 9, the Canadian driver. Wouter, AJ and Knight are squabbling as well down in P7 and P8. Here comes Wouter, then going down the inside of KSI to turn 13. Let's get the move done, they go side by side. And they're still side by side coming out the corner. KSI not making it easy for him. And there he goes then, up into P3, comfortable position. But obviously with that 5-second time penalty, Wouter is pushing as hard as he can to try and reduce the gap towards the later on in the race where he had to serve his 5-second time penalty if he does pit again, which is most likely because I don't think those tyres could go to the end. But Mark's next target now is to Griff in P5, who's currently at the back of KSI. DRS is now enabled for this race, and KSI goes a little bit deep into turn 2. He'll have to Griff all over the back of him, and I wonder will to Griff make a move into turn 3. He pulls out to the right hand side, he has the inside line for the next corner, they go side by side now. But they go side by side again through turn 4. KSI has the inside line, he stays ahead for the time being. Good defence there from KSI. AJ goes off the track and Andijan has got himself up into P8. AJ has currently dropped himself into P10 because he went off the track and had to give the place to Rudy. And he's dropping further back on those hard compound tyres. Was the hards the right decision to go on? Because it looks like he's struggling early on in this race against the mediums and one soft winner.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that racks up for him in the long run, of course. The longer this race goes on, if there isn't another safety car, of course, the hards will become the best tyre towards the back end of the Grand Prix, but there is a long time to go before that takes effect. AJ, Rudy and Andrew having a lot of scrubber. KXI losing out 2 positions there to T-Griff and Mark going down the inside of T-Griff as well. What a move that looked to be. But those 3, Anjan, Rudy and Jake, have been squabbling for a few laps. Rudy was actually running behind AJ, who was Anjan running at the back. Rudy tried to go for a move and a closing gap and actually lost him out to Anjan. That's how those 2 have swapped round. But Mark getting a lovely double overtake there down with the assistance of DRS. He's now 2 seconds behind Wouter. But knowing that Wouter may need to stop again, as he does, but has to serve a 5-second penalty in the pits. That could be the distance. It looks like we've got a spin at the back. It is Nathan JB through to turn 2.
Oh, that's a shame. But we've got Andijan and Rudy going side by side. Rudy having to be forced off the track, not enough space between those two, and Andijan stays ahead of Rudy for the time being. But to Griff, yeah, to Griff and KSI on the same strategy, of course. That was a lovely move what Mark done at turn 13 because to Griff got past KSI and Mark got past both of them, which is crucial for him because he didn't want to end up being stuck behind those two and losing time towards Walter, his main rival for this evening's race. But Walter pulling a 2.1 second gap already. Walter doing a very good job making his way through the traffic. Now he's got ahead Bumpia, who looks like, and Robbie, who's looked like he got the pace so far to stay ahead of Walter. And Andy under massive pressure because he's got Rudy right behind him, but Rudy's too far back to make any move into turn 13. AJ all over the back of Rudy as well. This massive DRS train is forming. It's very difficult for those guys further behind to overtake because they're stuck in that DRS train. They can do nothing about it. But they're all stuck behind ISO 09 in P7. DRS unable to go for this straight. Griff hasn't got DRS on Mark, whereas KSI has, so he's dragging him along. As Ferg picks up a 3-second time penalty. Or KSI made a mistake through turn 1. Got a bit of a wobble on coming out of that corner, but he stays where he is for the time being. And McLaren's just spun. Is that Steve? Yeah, Steve spun coming through turn 2. Oh, look at that. I've got contact. That's Giroud Visser who spun. And I believe he tried to go down the inside of Jime. Jime and Marty were involved in a battle between P11. And it looked like Giroud Visser tried to go down the inside of Jime, but ended up making contact and spinning the car. So Giroud Visser, Pease, Nathan, not all having a good race so far, it seems, in this race.
Absolutely. A few of our front runners, all apart from Wouter, but including that little bit of contact under safety car, all of them are involved in some sort of controversy, some sort of incident in one way or another. Like I say in this race, like so many before it devolving into a bit of a DRS train. Like you say, when the car in front of you and behind you both get DRS, it's very hard to make through positions, unless of course you can shake the guy behind you. It gives you a little bit of defence, or they can be shaken by the guy in front, or you dump the battery. But that's a very, very costly decision it can be, because it leaves you open to attack yourself. Rudy getting very loose on the final turn there. Was looking good to have a run at engine, but losing the car, almost catching it very nicely. I was watching Jacob there for a few turns as well. 7 lap on the hards. I believe they're just starting to come into a good little window. It was still a little bit loose sliding here and there through some of the turns, but not quite as bad as we've seen, in the pace starting to sort of even out. So one to watch later on. We do have a yellow flag though, and that is Bumpy.
The little tree has spun coming through turn 7. He's currently in a good position in P2, not being under threat by Walter as such, but he's currently spun. ISO 9 has, somebody's gone off the track. That was Bompia. I thought that was ISO 9, but it was actually Bompia going off the track there. He's dropped down into P12. That's a shame for here, looking comfortable in P2. Just keeping the pace, keeping a good distance between himself and Walter. But shout out to Robbie in P1 because he's got a 4.4 second gap. He's not under pressure so far. He's in a really good position, is Robbie. After starting P15, looks like he is on good form so far, because we know that he's got a pit for his first pit stop. Marty has crashed. Is that going to be a safety car? Could be. Oh, yes, it is. And into the pits comes Robbie. That's a perfect time for him to come in the pit lane, because he can switch over to hard compound tyres and make his one and only pit stop. What's Walter going to do? Walter is going to stay out there, so he's not serving his 5-second time penalty. Mark is in the pit lane because obviously he's on the soft compound tyre. Those can't go to the end. He's on a 2-stop strategy with a short stint. As Robbie's on the softs, interestingly. Can he make them go towards the end? That's going to be a long stint for Robbie. 14 laps on those soft compound tyres. I'm not quite sure, but we'll see what happens. He rejoins further down the grid. Where he rejoined, I think it's P7. Yep, he will rejoin in P7 on those soft compound tyres.
A few drivers hoping to go for the softs. KXI, ISL Knight, both going for the softs. A few drivers the mediums. And a few even going for the hards from here. I would say the guys that have been on the mediums, the hard is the safer option. You're definitely going to get to the end, but this could be a stroke of genius from Robbie, KXI and Knight. Maybe they're predicting another safety car. Go for softs, get another fresh set of softs towards the end, or fresh-ish sets. I don't think they'll have many left after the qualifying that we've seen. And go from there. But the front 6 not stopping, as Nathan as well in P8 not stopping under that safety car. Wouter choosing to go out long on those mediums, not stopping for a fresh set, not serving that 5-second penalty. Of course, if he did serve it, no chance of getting removed, as the delta under safety car wouldn't really reflect a proper 5 seconds. But Robbie doing very well, getting up to P7 after making his stop from starting P15. Of course, it'll all be key here. Can he make those softs last?
Yeah, that's the question for those guys. KSI and Knight as well. But one thing's for certain, both Mercedes are out of this race. Marty and Ps, they won't be scoring any points tonight. That's not a good way to kick off the season. Also, Giroud visited down in P18. He had to change his full wing after making contact with Marty earlier on in this race. But Giroud visited down in P18 now. He's got a chance to try and get himself some good points tonight, because he's got a second chance after catching up the pack now. He's currently a long way down in P18. He has caught up the safety car in that fact. Neither has Duel. We're just waiting for those two to catch up on the back of the pack. But it's a chance for Giroud visit now, after starting on pole position, just to get back in there, see what he can do and try and grab as many points as he can. Save for head Bompier as well down there in P12. He's going to the pit lane again, his head Bompier, so we don't want to be on the hard compound tyre. He might be switching over to the mediums because feels those could be a better tyre. He might do medium, hard, medium, because he could go medium, because obviously he needs to use more than one tyre set or a different tyre set. But Anderson down in P2, he's kept out of trouble so far and looks like he's doing a really good job so far. He's been quiet in this race, but so far he's currently behind the race leader on the medium compound tyre. This could help the medium runners extend their stint in the race because the safety car, the extra safety car, that'll help them save their tyres.
Yeah, gonna cut out about 3 laps worth of racing, approximately. And the Anderson, like you're saying, up from P12 into P2, and in P2 on complete merit. He's had a few battles here and there, mostly with Jacob and I believe Rudy, who's currently finds himself down in P13. Jaime up from P11 to P4. Mr. BT up from 13 to 5, and Robbie up from 15 to 7, the big winners. Jeroen down 16 from pole to 17th at this stage, and like you say, they're 2 Mercedes. Last season's Constructors Champion are not starting off the Tier 1 Constructors, or their part in the combined Constructor, shall I say, with a bang. Safety car back in this lap. We'll have a few laps of racing before we get the DRS again, so I expect some squabbles as they try and find their place within the upcoming DRS train. And with different tyre strategies, different tyre lives, this could be a fiery second half to this Australian Grand Prix here.
Just see what happens. We need to keep an eye on Robbie because he's on those brand new set of soft compound tyres. Remember, he crashed in Q1, so he's got plenty of softs to use, and he'll be a threat he'll be a force to reckon with. And down in P7, Nathan on the old mediums, so both Aston Martins at P7 and P8. Off we go then for the second restart. Wouter looks like he's got a good restart so far, extending that gap towards Anderson. AJ on the hard compound tyres there down in P3. Is anybody looking to make a move? A bit of weaving going on to warm up those tyres. No one's close enough to make a move so far into the first few corners. But let's say if they don't need to make another pit stop, Wouter's going to pull out a 5 second gap as Robbie makes a move already into turn 3, and he's got himself up into P6. I didn't see the move, but it looks like he's well ahead of Derouge in P7 there. And now he's on the back of Mr. BT. Look at him, he's going to go for it actually. You don't really see an overtaking opportunity there. We saw Kamiro Kobayashi crash there with Rubens Barrichello and Nico Hulkenberg back in 2010 when he lost his front wing. And Robbie's made up 2 places so far, so good performance there for Robbie, up into P5 already. Next target is Jaime on the medium compound tyres and AJ on those hard compound tyres.
Yeah, I was riding on board there with Robbie there. Very, very good move. Getting a nice exit from turn 2. Getting a lot of speed down the first straight. Using a bit of battery as well. Closing the gap so much on the Roy. Just getting a better exit with a fresher rubber. And so much more grip through turn 3. And then what a move that was on BT. T-Griff getting past KXI further back there as well. The hards against the softs. Just a little bit from the chat there. Mr. Krishna telling us that the softs can easily go to the end. So a little bit of knowledge from the Tier 2 driver. Robbie though right in the back of Jaime here for P4. He is going to look to make the move into turn 1. Thinks against it actually. Quite surprised at that. Jaime defending with the battery.
Quite smart because Robbie don't need to make a move, so I think that Jaime will go into a mistake, and down the inside he goes late on the brakes and makes the corner. Beautiful move there from Robbie as Mark goes down the inside and they make contact, slight contact, but Nathan doesn't spin or neither does Mark, so thankfully that didn't happen. But Griff is all over the back of him. But yeah, that was a very good move for Robbie. Now he's on the back of AJ. I think it's just the overheating issues. I don't think it's the tyre wear, it's the overheating issues. That's probably the reason why I think those tyres can't go to the end. But dual spun coming out of turn 6 there.
Not a great race for the McLaren of Dooley's second season in that car. Not really hit the heights he had in season 2 and 3, but a firm fan favourite on the grid. I hope to see him back up on the podium. I hope to interview him at some point this season. Further up the field,
Time we go.
Robbie going for the move on Jacob. Jacob though holding in there on the hards, but you suspect this is just going to be a losing battle, as those softs will have so much more grip compared to the 11 lap old hards. And there he goes, Robbie through into P3 at the moment. Next target, Anjin on the mediums. DRS now re-enabled. Of course they won't have it on this first straight on the exit of turn 2 down to turn 3. The DRS detection zone in the final sector for that. Nathan getting past DeRoy into turn 1.
T-Griff.
Yeah,
he's down
T-Griff
a few places.
And Knight and KXI getting down. Knight diving to the inside of KXI. Two of them going side by side. A little bit of contact here. We're riding on board with DeRoy, and Rudy making a little contact with DeRoy there. Close scrapping in the back end of the mid-pack, shall we say. Brilliant racing from nose to tail. Siebes getting involved in this battle. That's it. Jeroen who just crashes into the wall.
Is that a safety car? Probably. It's optimal for safety. Oh, another safety car has been deployed there, but that plays beautifully in the hands of Robbie, because obviously Robbie's on those soft compound tyres. This will help his tyre life as well, so help Robbie in terms of tyre life. But I'm still skeptical about those softs going to the end, because, well, 30, 40 laps, quite a long stretch for those soft compound tyres. Because I know tyre wear isn't significantly good around here, but that safety car, another safety car coming out. That's 3 safety cars we've had so far.
It was one I suspected might happen. Of course, the walls are very close and very unforgiving here in Australia, so I'm not quite surprised. But 2 of them coming from drivers making mistakes on their own. The only one really by an incident is, of course, the initial one with Pease. But that's 2 of the usual top 3 from last season out of this Grand Prix. Pease and Jeroen. Duwell choosing to retire in the pits. Also, just prior to Jeroen's spin, so maybe if he had left it about 10 seconds longer, he would have had another option. KXI and Boompe coming into the pits for a fresh set of softs. The only one choosing to do that. Ferg still coming round to rejoin the back of the pack. Will he decide to jump into the pits? He does. I suspect we'll see a fresh set of softs now going on the Alpine of Ferg, but I suspect we'll probably restart racing around about lap 19. Effectively a 10 lap shootout towards the end. And like you say, V Robbie, Knight and KXI, Boompe and Ferg on those softs. This will be helping them, especially Robbie. Give him a chance to cool down his tyres, extend that life, not take much rubber out of them. And every lap it goes sort of brings advantage to him. And every lap it goes takes away the advantage from Jacob, because of course the mediums and of course them softs aren't going to wear as much. He's not going to have as much of a swing and pace advantage by being on those hards towards the end of the race.
Okay, 2 laps to go from P7 to P3, Robbie, and it gives him a chance to save that battery, because I know he's running low on battery, using a lot of it to try and get past his opponents. So this has worked out beautifully for Robbie there. Has he got a chance of winning this Australian Grand Prix for the opening round, or will it go to Wild Tour? Andijan looks like he's... Can he finish in P2 after starting outside the top 10? Has he got the pace too? He's looking good so far in P2. Potential podium is on. He's on the better tyres compared to AJ.
Definitely, and of course the advantage he's got over AJ is he has penalty free. Of course, Valter's 5-second time penalty at the moment can be removed as long as he doesn't serve it under safety car. Very, very likely it will. But at the moment, the top 3, only 2 of them penalty free effectively, if we're going off by the book what is in there. Jacob with the 5-second from contact with Valter and a 3-second time penalty, as does Jaime, Mr. BT, IRT T-Griff, ISRL Knight, Rudy 1973, KX I7 and Relentless Ferg. Quite a few penalties getting dished out here tonight with track limits, of course. We've had a comment there made by Atomic, actually, a Div 4 driver, shout out to him, just showing how much the curbs these guys use, and that is how they help maximise their lap time. But of course it's a very thin line. We've seen drivers lose it on the curbs and make contact with the wall, and drivers push a little bit too hard and pick up these crucial 3-second pains that, when you get a late safety car, can make all the difference.
Now we've got a time to look back. Giroud, Visser and Toto P, second and third in the Drivers' Championship last season, retired already. A lot of good starts to the season. I believe Toto P and Giroud, I think they had a bad start to the season last season as well. So I think they need to get this race out of the way and focus on the next one, because this is just giving the advantage to Walter already. We don't really see Toto P and Giroud Visser retired already, but yeah, they just got to try and see what they can do for the next few races.
That is the thing that won Walter the championship last season in my eyes. Yeah, he's got a lot of raw pace, but he's consistent.
It was a slow start to the season for Total P's. Giroud as well, so hopefully those two don't look too back on this race and just can focus on the next ones, because they just need to get it out of the way now. Turn 1 and Turn 2 have been avoided them, but seeing this, I need to use them also. Yeah, you have to use the curves, but at the same time you have to use the right amount of curbing, because if you take too much of it, you can end up losing the rear or so and end up in the barriers. But yeah, that's the difference, using all the track and the right amount of it as well. But for the third restart then, Robbie on the soft compound tyre, he'll be lucky to try and get ahead of Andrew. Look at the restart Walter's got, and Robbie is right behind Andrew. The game pulls out to the right hand side. Will he have the inside line for the next corner? It is his corner now because he's ahead. And into turn 1 we go. He's ahead of Andrew. Crucial move there for Robbie. He knows he can win this race, but he also got to know that he can't rely on Walter's penalty, because it potentially could get removed towards the end of the race. So he's got to try and make this move on the track. And Mark's going down the inside of Mr. BT. He goes around the outside. Mr. BT has the inside line. They're still squabbling, but Mark makes it moves up into P6 ahead of Mr. BT. And look at Robbie all over the back of Walter now on those soft compound tyres. He knows he can win this race. Just got to play it nice and cool and wait for his moment. On P15 on the grid after crashing out in Q1 there. Yes, I said Q1 because he was on P6 then at the end of the qualified session, crashed out, and then he got put down to P15 along with the guys who already been knocked out. But now he's got a chance to rectify that, try and turn it into a race winning situation. They've already pulled a gap to Anderson already. He's under pressure from AJ right behind, so we're going to watch out for him. But Robbie then, he will have to wait for DRS to be activated to give him that extra pace down the straight, try and get even more closer to Walter and make his move there.
Yeah, like you're saying, Robbie starting P15, of course, making it through Q1 on a technicality, I suppose, but then obviously he's crashing out and not getting a settle up in Q2. But that P6 time in Q1, he was only a matter of tenths off the top guys. We knew he had some good pace going into this, of course, just from what we know of the driver and from what we've seen in Q1, and he's certainly showing it on form here in his race pace, looking very, very strong for a podium, and if not a potential win here, just over 2 tenths off the back of Walter, but getting a nice bit of mid-corner speed there, almost touching the back of the Haas there, and really, really hooked on to the back here. Once the DRS comes into effect, it's not going to be a matter of if, it's going to be a matter of when he can get the move done, or when he chooses to get the move done. Ideally, if you're him, you're going to be wanting to wait until the end of that double DRS, but we do have another retirement.
Is that a safety car again? Will that be the 4th safety car? And it will be.
It is.
It'll be another safety car now. I wonder, lap 21, this will be a sprint race towards the end of the race now, for sure. Will some people opt to go for the soft compound tyre? He's got nothing to lose, let's just say. We've got like Nathan Downwards, you could say, could go in the pit lane and pop on a brand new set, or use the soft compound tyres depending on their age. But let's see if we see some more people dive into the pit lane for this last few laps of this race. Walter's got to watch out for Robbie. This is playing into the hands of Robbie beautifully, because not much life is being taken out of those soft compound tyres at all.
Absolutely, every lap under safety car just gives more incentive to Robbie. He's not got to worry about preserving the tyres or keeping them within, you know, a nice operating window for too long when it comes to heat. he can just put lap after lap after lap. It's saying they are 9 laps old, but when about 6 of them have been done under safety car by the end of this lap, there isn't going to be much life taken out of them yet. Nobody opting to go in the pits. All of them opting to stick with track position. Down to 15 runners here in this race. 5 retirements to Roy, the latest of which, looking by where it was on track, almost an identical incident to the one that saw Jeroen retire for P17. So all of these cars, subject to those finishing or at least making 90% of the race distance here, will receive at least 1 championship point for the Drivers' Championship, and of course the combined constructors. Sieb, though, the big winner from this safety car, you must say, on a time-based perspective, must have had a little bit of an instant there. I don't know if it was under the safety car. I did before the last restart. There was a little bit of squabbling in the mid-pack. I'm not sure if somebody maybe having a half spin and losing positions, and there was maybe a little bit of contact with the wall somewhere, and Sieb having to pit at last lap onto fresh soft. He'll be able to rejoin the field. He could be one to watch. You know, only 3 laps fresher than the guys in front of him, but when you can mix that in with guys in the hards, guys in the mediums, all in different life tyres, different compounds, different paces, and everybody gunning it, because it is, like you say, going to be about a 6 to 7 lap shootout at the end here.
Yes, indeed. I know Robbie. I've met him from a different league, and he's very, very quick. He was a champion in that league as well, so he knows how to drive. He knows how to win races, and he actually won a race in Australia a few months before as well. So looks like he's on the course, but doing it again is Robbie. Anderson, though, shout out to him in P3, keeping AJ behind and Jaime and all them. He's doing a very good job. We could see him on the podium for the first time in his. I think he's raced here before, but just as a reserve driver, might have a full-time seat now. But nice to see him on the podium from starting P12, was it? Let me have a look. Yeah, it was P12.
12. Yeah, Angin in full-time seat this season. Teammates alongside Mr. Ferg, Mr. Freg, everybody's favourite frog himself. Long-time lurker, first-time racer, I suppose, I think. I believe he has reserved a few times in the past, though, and making his full-time debut here this season. Jacob, a big loser from all these late safety cars, so with the most penalties, 8 seconds. That could see him drop not just 1, not just 2, not just 3, but a good handful, and maybe even a couple of handfuls worth of positions here with the way that these trains like to run. Should see hopefully the safety car in this lap. The field has reformed, the track is clear, so
I wonder how much fuel.
back under.
Wonder how much fuel people's got. I'm very curious to see how much fuel, because they've saved a lot of fuel. There'll be no fuel. If you underfuel the car, there'll be no problems with fuel anymore.
Well, I'm just maybe a little bit redundant here. I had a check through the field. Nobody has the little fuel icon in the right hand bottom right side of the screen flashing. And it might just be a case.
+4 fuel. Somebody's got +4 fuel. I can see on the steering wheel. I've just zoomed in, and yeah, they've got more fuel than they would have wanted, so they're going to have to try and burn it off if they can.
Of course, more fuel compounds the issues of tyre wear and extra heating loading through the corners. It also, of course, makes you a little bit slower. What is it about? Is it every kilo makes you about a tenth slower a lap? Or is it every 10 kilos?
Something like that.
It's along those lines. But we will, for the 4th time, 5th time if you include the race start, get back underway racing here at the end of this lap. Lap 24, giving us a 6-lap shootout to the end. Effectively, a 5-lapper with a bonus lap here. But we've got the added sprinkle of excitement with so many different compounds, so many different tyres, and Robbie hanging on to the back of Wouter, trying to get as good a restart as he can. Wouter leaving it late, and he does go for it. Jacob getting past Angin. He was caught napping a little bit there and moves back up to P3. Of course, plenty of penalties for him, and the rest of the field looking to get good. And away, Mark trying to move down Jaime, gets forced onto the inside, and a little bit of contact there.
3 wide, to go 3 wide. Mark, Nathan at BT. Nathan backs out a bit smartly because he knows contact will be made, but Mark and Mr. BT going side by side. Mark trying to go around the outside of Jaime, but can't quite make it, not enough space there, and he gets ahead of Mr. BT. Or does he? He goes off the track, but he stays ahead of Mr. BT. Nathan trying to get past him too, can't quite make the move. Not enough room there for both of them to go through. And somebody behind just spin. There's 2 cars who spun, and that is KXI and IS09. It was all going on down in the midfield there. Not quite sure what happened because they're all jostling for position, but not enough space there. But back at the battle for P1 and P2, who is going to win this race? Will it be Robbie or will it be Walter? I was going to mention Aditya winning this race just in case these two had contact, but he's down into P4. But obviously with AJ's 5-second time penalty, still could be another chance for a podium here. Is Aditya. Walter goes defensive on the inside. Robbie's trying to make a move, but he can't quite make it. But 5 laps left to go. DRS will enable another 2 laps time. Let's see where Robbie will pounce. So we've got AJ right there as well in P3.
Of course, AJ really out of the contention here for a podium with those pains, but he could still have a part to play, like you say, holding up Anjin and maybe even getting in the mix with these two because he wants to make up as much time as he can in the cars behind him. Wouter, though, will be determined to make that rear wing of that Haas as wide as he possibly can. Robbie having a little bit of speed down the straight, but not enough too far back without the need, or without the use of DRS, shall I say, and unable to get a move at this point. It will be another lap sitting behind, unless, of course, an opportunity presents itself in the near future. It looks as if there's been another spin. It is Ferg through turn 4. I believe there might have been contact there. It's not an easy place to spin yourself, so maybe side by side there, but Robbie still not able to get the move done. Only 2 attempts back on Wouter, just staring at that Eurocali, I believe it is pronounced, Brandon on the back of the Haas here. But will maybe have a run down towards the right-hander. Mark picking up a 3-second time penalty to add to his race tally. I believe it is actually his first, but still not close enough for Robbie to make a move. He doesn't need to rush it though. He hasn't got all the time in the world, but he has got 4 laps.
It's going to be Walter or Robbie. This Australian Grand Prix producing another chaotic race, as I've always commentated and raced on before. Always brings out surprise. Safety cars, whatnot. DRS is enabled now, so Robbie has that chance to try and use the rear wing to try and get past Walter into whatever corner he can get past him in. This is an overtaking opportunity, but obviously he doesn't have DRS, but is he close enough? Will he try and go around the outside? No, he won't, because Walter will just cut him off knowing that he has the track position. He's so close far behind. Robbie was hoping not another safety car will come out because that probably dents his chances of winning this race, but Walter, how long can he defend? We know Walter doesn't really make mistakes when he's defending from people. He's really good at defending and attacking at the same time. That's what made him champion last season. And obviously he's showing a good form against Robbie again in this race. First race of the season, but Robbie is so tantalising close behind him. Will he get a good exit coming out of turn 11 and 12 and get him down into turn 13? We've seen a couple of moves being made down there. Also with Drew and Pease making contact there. That's what caused the first safety car, of course. That was actually AJ trying to go down the inside of Pease. No, Pease down the inside of AJ. Pease spun and AJ made contact with him. Not close enough on this occasion is Robbie. What can he try and do?
Of course, next couple of straights he will have the double DRS here, but Jacob, just with these two holding each other up a wee bit, it's almost as if Robbie pushing Wouter around the corners. That's how close they are together, and that's allowed Jacob to get in. Wouter going left, try and break the slipstream. Jacob staying left, sorry, and Wouter going right, I must say. But Robbie not able to get the move done to turn 1. He will have DRS again down towards turn 3 here, and he's going to use a bit of that battery. Will have a good run, goes for the move around the outside. Wouter holding the inside, covers it across in the exit. Some brilliant defending here from Wouter, like you say. Very calm, very cool, very collected, and very consistent, and he's showing it here. This is what it takes to be a champion. It's not all about winning the races when it's all going your way. It's about winning races when the pressure's on and you're under the throat of somebody else.
When I put it better, that's exactly why he's the champion. Walter showing what he could do against someone on better tyres, but Robbie, with 2 laps to go, getting closer to turn 11 and turn 12. Gonna have to set him up, try and get a better exit than him. Here we go then. Will this be his chance to make his move? Looks like Walter got a little bit better exit compared to Robbie. But Robbie didn't. Using the ERS to go around the outside into turn 13. Can he get the lead? Go side by side. And he stays ahead slightly. Robbie gets put on the grass slightly there. Almost lost the car. But yeah, Robbie's going to have to try another way to try and get past Walter. Walter doing a fantastic job, being as fair as he can. Giving all the space to Robbie. Robbie had all the space around the outside to make that move. Walter gave him the space. But here we go then. Again then. 2 laps to go. Can Walter survive the threat of Robbie, or can Robbie take the lead of the race as we come into turn 1 then? Opportunity to overtake down into turn 3. Will Robbie choose his attack differently and go there instead of turn 13? Here we go then, using the ERS. Can he go around the outside into turn 3? Yes, he can. They're side by side now. Robbie goes slightly wide. They're still side by side into turn 4. They go side by side. They're so close together. And Walter goes around the outside to maintain his lead of the race. Unbelievable. I thought Robbie had the move done, but it turns out Walter just survives another few corners. But Robbie then, he has AJ all over the back of him. Those soft tyres start to crumble just a little bit. Who knows? But Walter just doing a fantastic job. If the race ends like this, Walter's definitely the driver of the day for the defending. But Robbie doing a fantastic job in P2. Walter had a bit of a tight slapper coming out of turn 9 there. Back end just stepping out of him as he tries to apply the throttle there. But 2 laps to go of this race. What can Robbie do? DRS enabled again. Is he close enough on this occasion to make a move? Look at him using the ERS. Will he go around the outside? Look at that, Walter's derating. I think Robbie saw that the back of the flashing light of Walter's car. We've got contact being made. Berg is out of the race. He crashed at turn 13, or turn 12 should I say. But Robbie with the ERS advantage, he knows that he's low on the ERS. But look at Robbie sliding all over the place as the tyres start to overheat, being stuck behind the car for so long. It's the last lap of the race. What can Robbie do? Can he try and win this race?
He's running out of time here. I thought, like you're saying, once he got his nose in front at turn 3 that last lap there, I thought that was a move done and dusted for him. Wouter derating in front, but that little bit of a loss of grip through the end of the final lap there, or the penultimate lap shall I say, causing him the run through the first sector. His best chance now is going to be turn 13, I believe it is, at the end of the DRS straight at the start of sector 3. That is going to be his best chance. That is going to be possibly his only chance if he wants to claim this victory. Of course, it will be a provisional victory, regardless, as Wouter does have that 5-second pen, but with it very much likely being removed, it would see the crown fall to Wouter for the Australian Grand Prix. Further back there, Mark got a move on Anjin up for P4 at the moment, but Jacob holding on to the back of these two. Here we go.
He's going to use the ERS. Walter's derated. There we go then. This could be the move that Robbie wins the race, or the defend that Walter wins the race. Around the outside he goes. He's got the move done. Will he make it stick? Yes, he does. Robbie takes the lead of the race, and he's finally got it done. Last chance for Robbie, and he's finally made it stick. Even my heart's going there for Robbie, but he comes around the puddles corner now. He needs to keep it nice and clean, nice and tidy throughout the last corner. There he goes then. On the straight we go. Walter hasn't got any ERS to defend with, or attack with, shall I say. And Robbie wins the Australian Grand Prix. What a race from Robbie there, from P15 to P1. He has just won the Australian Grand Prix. Fantastic drive there.
Absolutely incredible drive from Robbie, getting it done right at the last gasp, right last chance saloon bit of driving. Some brilliant defending from Wouter. Fortunately with that pen, it does seem provisionally dropped down to P4, but I expect him to be reinstated as the P2. That would give Anjin effectively P3, and Mark would slip down to P4. Jaime in P5, a good result from him in the Red Bull. Nathan P6 with Tigriff 7th, AJ 8th. What could have been for the head admin in the Alpha Tauri? A few spotted incidents, shall we say, Cumberland, what could have been a very, very solid race from him. Knight in P9 with the little tree, Mr. Boompier himself in P10. Rudy, Sieb, KXI and BT will be the last of your finishers as we ride on board with the Haas to cross the line in P14.
Wow, what a race. What a thrilling race. Out of all people, at the start of the race, was not expecting Robbie to win it after his crash in Q1, but yeah, drive of the day, well done to Robbie. Fantastic drive. Also, making it very clean and fair. I know Robbie, he's very clean and fair, and putting us a good show for the top two. Walter also being fair as well, not pushing him too wide, giving him the space he needs. And yeah, that's what you want to see, especially towards the last few laps of the race. Robbie did fantastic. Walter did fantastic to defend as well. Not easy defending with somebody that's fresher tyres with you and more ERS. But yeah, Walter will get his 5-second time penalty to remove. Will stay in P2.
Definitely. But there to round off after that, Robbie, definitely my driver of the day. P15 to P1, making the one-stop work. Anjin, P2 will drop to P3 with Wouter's reinstatement of that P2. Very unfortunate for the Dutchman, but he does continue a good run of getting podiums. That's what won him the title last season, and I don't think he'll be too disheartened at that. Mark will drop to P4 once that reinstated, but from P7 in the grid, you've got the feel he would take that. Very, very good work from him, making the 2-stop work for himself. Jaime in P5, another Dutchman up there near the front. We see them so often. Nathan, Tigriff and Jacob, 6th, 7th and 8th respectively. Knight, number 9, the Canadian there in the Red Bull, with IRT Boompe taking P10 up from P20, rounding off the top 10. The rest of our finishers, only 14 making it to the checkered flag tonight, in what was a very, very interesting season opener.
Street circuit, you expected lots of things to happen, and it put on a fantastic display. A lot of contact being made, especially with the midfields there. Early contact which brought out the safety car, lap 4 it was, and yeah, what a dramatic, thrilling race that was. Despite 4 safety cars, we got what we wanted at the end, and it was a fantastic showdown battle between Robbie and Walter. Just what you need, especially with 4 safety cars.
Definitely. Incredible race to kick off the season, like you say. I'm just going to see if any of our podium sitters and Walter, we'll go for the 4 of them, fancy a quick little chat. Just to go over their perspective of the race, I suppose, and it'd be nice, you know. It's a nice thing, I find, when you're commentating throughout the season, to get a little chat with some of your drivers, get to know them a bit better, get their insight on it, and see what they thought of the race, because of course they will have seen things that me and you maybe didn't.
Well, for Robbie, I'll be racing with him next season, so I'll get to know him a little bit more on the track. Yes, that's in a different league, of course.
Well, that'll be good. You'll be able to give us a bit of a driver insight into the mind of Robbie. Just seeing if Walter not too keen on coming for a chat, because he's saying he got P4 despite giving a chance of getting that pen removed. I'd still like to invite him in, just even to ask him what he was thinking the last few laps there, to see how he got on. Just trying to figure out, of course, Tier 1 this season, using the Discord instead of a party. You know, you've noticed maybe the fancy new graphics here on this stream. We've moved it up from Tier 4 to Tier 1 here, and that is part of the sort of thing to going for a little bit difficult, a little bit more complex for some of the drivers to join, perhaps just not what they're used to, but hopefully we'll get a few of them in for a chat very, very shortly. But looking forward to next week, just while we do that, we of course go across into France at the Circuit de Paul Ricard next Thursday for what will be round 2. It was round 2 last season on the calendar, returns again round 2 for next week's race. We're looking to see how the drivers kick on from this first race in Australia. Following that, we go to Italy at the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza for the first ever sprint race in CRL. Of course, a new format being introduced this season. Sprint race of 1-shot qualifying, 25% race, which then sets the grid, of course, for the 50% feature race. Now, you might be wondering, how does the point system works in this? Well, lucky for you, Mr. AJ Wuhan has made up a nice little graphic for us. If the right graphic would display, for some reason it's displaying the calendar. Technical difficulties as always to begin with. Here we go, we should have it now. That's us. Of course, tonight's race, 40 points for Robbie, getting the win all the way down to 1 point in 15th. And then when we go to those sprint races, the top 5 in the 25% will get points, as well as prime position for the full race. Just to see, we don't have any of the drivers in for a quick chat yet, so I suppose we'll give it a few more minutes, and then no point keeping waiting. We can maybe look to get this sorted for next week. But I suppose, Jamie, are you looking forward to this season? What are you expecting? Are you expecting much of a same with the freeway battle after what we've seen the night of P0 and Walter, of course, 2 of those not making it to the finish? Or do you expect to see a bit more of an open mix this season with some of the other guys? We do have a couple of them actually join for a podium chat, but
hopefully we see Jamoon, AJ. Hopefully we'll see those three fight again. Hopefully we've got more variety, more people like AJ, Robbie, Nathan if you can get involved, Rudy as well, because I know Rudy has got that pace. He just needs to find something in him to try and unleash it. Because Rudy, he's a quick driver, but he just makes so many little mistakes, and that's what he needs to improve. Because seeing him on his good day, he can really perform, but he just needs to find that consistency at that level of Walter, AJ, Morgan, etc. to get that's what he needs.
Absolutely. Consistency is the key here in Tier 1, but we'll start off with our first of one of our podium setters. It is, of course, Anjan. P2 on the track, likely to drop to P3 with Valter having I don't think we'll need the mince words, an unfair 5-second penalty added to his time, so likely to get that removed from the stewards. But a solid race on your full-time debut, Anjan, I must say. Podium spot, good points on the board for you and the team. You must be pretty happy with that.
First of all, thank you guys. For my debut race, I'll definitely take it. That was a fun race. I basically just pretty much avoided all the chaos. I just managed to avoid it and just drive my own race and not get any penalties. And in the DRS training, it was pretty easy to just stick with people. And yeah, I'll take a podium on my first race.
Absolutely strong result in the first race, making the strategy work with the safety car. And like you say, avoiding the little bit of trouble that we had on track. You were looking pretty good there. We thought you might have had a chance with a win, but fortunately losing out to Jacob on one of the safety car restarts, AJ Wuhan. But good pace in your debut. One to watch this season. I can't wait to see what you get up to in the following races, mixing it up with the more established. Jamie, have you got any questions for our lovely Swede, I believe it is?
Yeah.
There we go. The podium tonight.
Reserve driver last season, now full-time driver. First race on your debut on the podium, like you said. So just want to say congratulations, mate, and it's nice to see you again, talk to you again, because I'm Indigo. You should probably know.
Of course, man. I remember you, my guy.
Very nice to see you again, and hopefully you can have more good races like these, because that was a very clean race from P12 on the grid to P2 or P3, depending what the situation is. But yeah, congratulations, like I said before, and hopefully you have a good season.
Yeah, thank you. Unfortunately, my tires were literally just dying on me at the end, so I wasn't really keen on fighting anyone really, really hard.
How difficult was the track? Because I know a lot of people were struggling, and it's just very easy to make a mistake and lose the car. But just tell us how difficult it was being out there.
Oh yeah, I thought it was pretty difficult because I was losing the rear end in multiple occasions, just managing to save it multiple times. So I can definitely feel all the other drivers out there if they were struggling, because I was.
Those safety cars must have been a pain, because you were just settling into a rhythm, and all of a sudden you got to do it all again. You got caught by AJ there. Tell us what happened at the third. Was it third or fourth? I don't know. Was it third safety car restart with AJ?
It was the last one, I believe.
Well, there was four safety cars, was there? I thought there were three.
Yeah, I got definitely caught out because the leading car just decided to go very, very late, which is his right, trying to minimize the overtake from Robbie. So I definitely got caught out, and I got overtaken on the yellow flags, but I don't really think it was anything wrong there anyway. And my tires were cold because I was literally not even warming them up. I was just trying to make it, man.
Fair enough. And also, next race is the French GP. How are you feeling for that one?
Uh, I think I'm just gonna come in prepared and just have fun. Go out there, drive, have fun, have no expectations. It's my first ever season in this league, so I'm just happy to be out there driving against very fast drivers and yeah, just having fun.
Absolutely. That's the spirit we love to have here in CRL. Wish you all the best for the coming season, Andrew. And I don't think this will be the last time we'll be speaking to you after a race on a Thursday night. Now, the Flying Dutchman, he's been sitting here very quietly with his mic on mute, waiting for, he loves his interviews. He's much of a big talker, aren't you now, Valter?
Wait, what's it?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear us all right, Mr. Wouter?
Wait, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah, now we
we've
can.
got you now. We've
Oh,
got you
yeah,
now,
okay.
loud and clear.
Oh, okay.
So, obviously, let's have a quick little talk about your race then. Starting at P2, I believe it was. Good pace and quali. Good start to the race, getting Jeroen on lap 1, and then all the chaos came loose. Of course, the incident with Pease, and then the resultant safety car, you getting a 5-second penalty. But some heroic defending there at the end from you. Just summarise your race, I suppose, for us.
Yeah, no, it was good. Yeah, I had like a 3-second gap or something to the second car. So I was really looking good at that point. And then the second time, I got the panel. It felt good. Now we should be pretty easy, let's say, to get removed. But I try next day to come out. I try to a second. So I had a good fight with Robbie, but I don't think I should have been doing that with all players. But overall, and I'm so happy.
Of course, if you do get the penalty removed, that will be a P2. Last season, you kicked off with 3 P2s in a row, including the second round of the season in France. How are you feeling going into that race next week? Must be confident again of getting another good result again this season.
Definitely, yes. I hope I can be back on the podium again. I want to get out from today, get a bit of good luck back next. But France should be good. Should be a good fight. You only stick there, he just click there, so I think they'll be up there again after the bad luck from today.
Absolutely. Be one to look forward to next week. Jamie, hand it over to you. You're the man with all the knowledge of this division. Ask away.
Main competitors, Total Peas and Jeroen Visser, obviously they had their little mistakes and they were out of the race. So how does it give you a confidence booster throughout the start of the season, knowing that you won the race and your main competitors retired?
Give me a good little head start. The same happened last season where they had good first rounds, and everything this season because a good point lead, and they'll come back. That they've definitely improved last season. But yeah, it should be fine.
Sorry, I couldn't hear because it was lagging, but yeah, I think I heard some of it. They'll come back. We always know Jeroen Visser and Total Peas won't give up without a fight, so they'll come back stronger and hopefully they can challenge you more.
Hopefully see another interesting title fight here in Tier 1, but I think we'll leave it here for tonight. We don't want to rattle on for too long because I know I certainly can, and I know Jamie certainly can. We could sit here and talk all night. But
Turn my mobile data off.
first of all, I'd like to say, Jamie, thank you very much for joining me in the comms booth here tonight. It's been an absolute honour to take over technically the lead comms role from you. You've been a legend in this Tier 1 game. I'm only in here because of the fancy graphics, but definitely amazing partner to have in the comments box, and I'm really looking forward to this coming season, watching these races and getting to commentate these races with yourself. Anything you'd like to say before we go?
Likewise to you, mate. Thank you for taking over my role, and yeah, I'd love to watch the stream back tonight and see these fancy graphics.
Yeah, absolutely. I know Jacob's been working hard on them, and I've been working hard to get them implemented, but we'll leave it there, folks. Thank you very much for joining us for the first round of Tier 1 of CRL Season 6 for the Australian Grand Prix. We had lots of drama, lots of battles, and lots of entertainment. So make sure to tune back at the same time next week, 8:30 GMT, next Thursday, for the second round of Tier 1. Of course, Tier 2 kicked off at 7:30 tonight, just before us, and finished before us as well. That'll be the same again next Thursday. But until then, if you're looking for more entertainment, make sure to check back at 7:30 and 8 PM respectively on Monday night, where we can see our Tier 3 and Tier 4 drivers take to the start of their championship, including a certain one Mr. CRL Freefall taking to the track on Monday night with our lovely Tocom team of, I believe, Boompay, Mark and Torpedo. So make sure to jump in and give them lots of love. But for the final time tonight, I've been CRL Freefall. It's been an absolute pleasure to host and have you all here with me tonight, and I look forward to you seeing all of you back over the common season. Have a good evening, everybody.